Alright, hey guys, welcome back, and I am here to do talking about for the fourth, fifth week, I don't even know anymore, it's been that long. Anyway, this week I'm going to be talking about the newest generation of consoles, and this may have to be a two-parter because we've got so many points to go and talk about that. Next week will be part two. I'd like to start off this episode about not so much the way the launch handled, but more or less their exclusives and which console would be the better console at this current point in time. I mean, so far both are lackluster and they're not exactly the greatest consoles. And as we know, Sony hasn't exactly had a very good first-party exclusive going for it, except maybe Naughty Dog and Demon Souls, but that's beside the point. I mean, that was last generation. We're going to talk about this generation. It's already been almost 2 years. It's been a year and a half, and then almost 2 years since they were announced. Let's see. Let's start off with the Xbox One. Why should you get an Xbox One? I mean, if you like Halo, I guess you would probably want to be on an Xbox One. My apologies, I'm drinking a cold drink at this moment, so my voice is a bit phlegmy at the moment. But so the Xbox One and the PS4, in terms of hardware, they're very similar. I mean, they must have had some sort of espionage going on at the offices. I mean, at Microsoft and Sony, they must have been like, they're working on their specs. You gotta give me their specs. And then like Sony was like, you go to Microsoft. Gotta give me their specs. We gotta know their console. We gotta be better than them. And that's probably what was going on. I mean, they probably had spies going on. And then I'm only really going to be concentrating on the PS4 and the Xbox One because they're so similar. I'm going to disregard the Wii U because that's on a different level. The Wii U is obviously winning the current generation. With last year, they pretty much dominated. They had the three of the biggest and most anticipated titles. I mean, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Bayonetta 2. So Bayonetta sucks. It's like, oh, Bayonetta's pretty fucking awesome. People, you guys need to play Bayonetta 1. I mean, Bayonetta 2 may have fallen under the radar. Bayonetta 1 also may have fallen under the radar, but absolutely fantastic. Check it out. I'm gonna say why I picked Battleblock Theater, because I picked Battleblock Theater because I didn't have any other maps, well, any other games that I really wanted to show you that I was saving for later videos. So yeah, that's why there's Battleblock Theater. I enjoy it. It's a nice little game, and I think it deserves more recognition, so that's why I'm using it in my video. Also, in my video discussion about 2 years ago with the Xbox One, I used Battleblock Theater. So, good to revisit. So anyway, back to my original points. The consoles, in terms of hardware, are not very different. So let's look at the exclusives, and we'll start off with PS4. And PS4 is going to get its first really big anticipated title that's really going to do well financially for the console, and even might sell even more consoles. And that's obviously going to be Bloodborne. Bloodborne's really picked up a lot of traction ever since the popularity of the Souls series, and we can thank many YouTubers, I'd like to say two, PewDiePie and probably only Afro, along with Urba the Ninja and Lobos Jr. I'd like to thank them for getting me into Dark Souls. But going back to Bloodborne, Bloodborne has that traditional Souls gameplay, and I think it's a new quotation marks IP that we should all be concentrating on and looking on a little bit more forward. More recently, the PS4 already released, what was it, Order 1886, and it fell flat. There's a lot of things going on, like apparently a lot of things have been plaguing Order 1886, sort of similar things, like it's PS4's Assassin's Creed Unity. Unity, we all know, didn't do too well due to the fact that, well, it had a pretty shit launch, and the developers handled it pretty badly. But we're not talking about that because Assassin's Creed is an entirely different thing for another day. Order 1886, apparently unfinished, buggy, and generic. No endgame. I don't really know. I haven't really played the PS4, but I've got nothing against it. I used to be a very big Xbox 360 fanboy because obviously the PS3 had no games until Demon Souls. Demon Souls was the first game, and I'll give it that. Xbox 360, in the later years, it started to like stagnate and rely too heavily on its rehashing of sequels. I'm going to take a drink here, and then if you can hear the ice, yeah. So And then PS4 has also got No Man's Sky, and that's really anticipated. I think a lot of people believe that it's going to be something that Destiny could have like pulled off, but we never know. Destiny could be able to pull that off in the sequel. I mean, Destiny 1 was more or less a tech demo, and that's the way we should all look at game. Like, first new IPs are more or less tech demos and pledges to see what new franchises can do and what the sequel can do. As seen with Borderlands. Sequel, alright, let's go back to PS4 exclusives. You guys are going to have to help me out on this one. I don't really pay attention to the PS4, but I do want to get one just to maximize potential. Let's go to the Xbox One. In terms of the 3 biggest and most marketed sequels slash exclusives for the console in recent years, like in the past year, we've had Titanfall, Sunset Overdrive, and Master Chief Collection. I'll compare Master Chief Collection later with regards to The Last of Us Remastered. Let's go back to Titanfall. Titanfall was an exclusive, and I say exclusive loosely here because Titanfall was on PC as well. And if it's on PC as well, it's not an exclusive to the console, because then that means pretty much anyone with a computer can have the game, even though it's not going to be fully optimized. Titanfall isn't a great exclusive due to the fact that it has no single player going for it. It doesn't have anything for non-online players, and I think it doesn't really deserve the praise, even though it's, despite all of its massive accolades and awards that it earned. So, bleh. It just feels like a generic first-person shooter. I have it. I don't really care for it. I don't have any intention of playing it again. It just seems like it was a short burst to artificially increase the sales of the Xbox One. Moving on, let's go to Sunset Overdrive. This was meant to be a big, massive new IP for Microsoft to sell the Xbox One, and a lot of gamers didn't. And I really hate using the word gamers because, I mean, that's an entirely different subject for another day. Anyway, Sunset Overdrive was met with mixed perception from gamers, and they really didn't. They found it really iffy and kind of forced. I mean, it probably tried to take the style of Borderlands and the style of Infamous, but really try and be its own thing. But it just fell short, and it felt really try-hard in that opinion. But I guess gamers are more excited towards the new Crackdown game that's been announced, but haven't seen anything. Which hopefully we'll see something at E3. But I don't really care for sequels. I really want to see some new games, because Xbox One and PS4 are meant to be the new platforms for innovation, and I say innovation loosely because thank God that Microsoft decided to drop a lot of the Kinect focus and focus more on the core gaming. Now let's compare the biggest game, which was a game that was a re-release slash reskin slash repackaging. And Master Chief Collection, I think it's a bad game due to the fact that it had a very poor launch. Took about 3 months for them to fix it and get it right. It's pretty poor considering the age we live in, where that might have been acceptable back in 2007. I mean, give them a bit of a chance. I mean, it's still 2007, still getting into the intricacies of like Xbox Live. But your Master Chief Collection's 4 games running on the one matchmaking system. It's like, so they had like 2 years to plan this out, 2 years to get this right, and they still didn't do it. I refuse to pay $100 for 4 games I already have with a minor reskin on Halo 2 Anniversary, but 60 frames per second. Please, all the people who've been part of the PC Master Race have been laughing at you. They've been laughing at you and going, "Look at them, look at them and laugh." I mean, it's a joke to think that consoles are now finally getting 60 frames per second, and then later on in the lifespan, they're probably going to be back down to 30 frames because PC will have advanced another 3 years on the consoles and will still be stuck. Hopefully these consoles will stick with a 7-year lifespan and instead of the 360 being in service for over 11 years once it reaches the end of its lifespan. I mean, this is its last year in service. But yeah, I can't believe I managed to talk about 9 minutes about this. I've really got a lot of material, got a lot of ammunition. This is just really in regards to the console wars going on right now, and I think that Last of Us Remastered, it's a good thing to bring it on for the PS4 because the PS3 reached pretty much the end of its lifespan this year. And bringing on the last and most heavily regarded Game of the Year of last year. And I don't want to talk about Last of Us because I feel the gameplay it's pretty mediocre. It's a mediocre third-person shooter with just a good story and good characters, and that doesn't make a good game. And I think it's just trying to be an Oscar bait game or a Game of the Year award game. It's being a game that's made with the complete intention of just getting Game of the Year. Pretentious bullshit. But anyway, yeah, it's just strange that people are still arguing over two pieces of shit consoles when the Wii U is the clear winner at this moment in time, and you might as well be on PC. But anyway, I gotta go now, and I'll bring back part 2 next week. So thanks, guys, and next week we'll probably talk about the way the marketing was handled. So thank you. I'll see you guys later.